Hi Preet,
Good afternoon, ma'am.
and congratulations on your ISB PGP admit.
Thank you so much, man. It's all down to you.
Preet, we are taking up this conversation to understand your journey and the challenges and the tips and strategies that you would have to share with the future applicants. So let's start with hearing out your profile and your work experience till date, and what were your aspirations and what were the criteria important for you when you were choosing the MBA programs.
I would start with what my bachelor's was. I did bachelor's in automotive engineering in the UK. So post that, I returned to India and I started looking for jobs in automotive engineering. I was able to find a job at a robotics startup, which was based in South Bombay. So I worked there for 4 years. I started as an intern and then I quickly rose to the role of a mechanical team leader. And over the course of 4 years, we worked with numerous clients across India and made a lot of one-of-a-kind robots for them. After 4 years of working there, I wanted to dive into the managerial side of things. I wanted to see how could I use to go into the area where I want to go. And upon introspection of my skills and past, I found that operations management is something that I want to do. And so looking at roles in operations management, it was pretty tough considering that I didn't have an MBA back then. Without an MBA, the roles that were available in the domain that I wanted to go into, it was pretty tough. But luckily, I was able to find a role as a remote operations manager for an overseas company, which was based in Bahrain. And through that role, I got a lot of insight into how operations management normally works. Even for a pretty small company, it's very important to keep the day-to-day business running and get a lot of insight into the important factors and the criteria for the business to develop. I was also part of the business development team of that company, which was responsible for creating an investment plan for bringing EVs from China into the GCC. So working there for 1 year gave me a lot of insight into the operation side of things, like inventory management and business development. And supply chain logistics was a small part of it, but it did give me a lot of knowledge regarding the overall operations umbrella, and that is something which I wanted to post MBA. My work profile and where I wanted to go was a huge part of me, in considering which programs I wanted to opt for, which companies I want to work for, and making sure that those companies have a presence in the placement reports and the employment reports of the programs I want to go into. So the companies which I wanted to work for, which are already in the automotive sector and doing operations in those companies such as GOALisB, Honeywell, companies like Philips, they already have a presence in the employment reports and the programs I applied for. So that was a huge factor in considering those programs.
And what about the GMAT prep? Going back to the to preparing for the GMAT after getting work experience, what were things that really helped you in acing the GMAT, and also the tips and strategies for GMAT preparation?
Okay, sure. So, this story for GMAT, it's pretty convoluted for me because I initially started preparing for CAT, and I want to apply for Indian colleges, such as IIM, ABC, colleges like that. But after preparing for CAT for a while, I thought the work ex requirements, my work ex at that time was around 4.5 to 5 years, and those colleges only selected candidates from a very small pool of 2 years or maximum 3 years of work ex. So way back in July, I switched to GMAT, and then I started preparing for that. And the problem was I was already working for this company in Bahrain. It was a remote job, so I was working from home, but also had my other side venture operating at the same time. So finding time to study for the GMAT was pretty tough, but I really wanted to give my all and wanted to get into the top MBA program which was available. So I put a lot of time with the GMAT. And you have to sacrifice a lot of your social life. You have to sacrifice your weekends and prepare for that. So my study plan was basically 4 to 5 hours a day during the weekdays, and on the weekends I would study for 8 to 10 hours. That was my plan for the GMAT. And the other thing that I did differently from people was people generally take a dry mock first because they want to see where they stand. But I had some confidence in myself for the quant section. I was really sure of the verbal section. So I was I made up this plan to just go through all the material first. So I signed up for this TTP course online, target test prep, and I went through the entire course. It got over in 3 to 4 months. By the first week of October, I was done with the entire course. And so then that was the time when I took my first mock. And luckily, with the preparation that I had, I scored a decent score, which was an indication of what I would score in the final exam. So the entire last month, from my the October where I resigned from my company because of the end of the contract, and I wanted to give the GMAT in November to apply for the round 2 program in ISB. So during that entire month from October to November, I gave 5 to 6 mocks basically, and it gave me a good indication of what I would score in the final exam. which was a decent score like to get me in.
We suggest to a lot of applicants, to overlap the CAT and the GMAT prep. Is there an overlap as such? Does your CAT preparation help you prepare for GMAT as well?
Yeah, ma'am, I would say like the quant section of CAT, it might help you prepare a bit for the GMAT section because the GMAT quant section. Because the quant for CAT is a bit tougher, I would say, than the GMAT, and there are specific tips and techniques to solve the problems. So those tips and tricks might help you in the GMAT quant section. But the verbal section, I would say, for the GMAT and quant is very different from each other, and it requires a lot of it's a completely different perception that is required to get the answers. The quant side of things, you might be helped out with the CAT preparation.
What about the MBA application as such? Writing the ISB application, you have to write the essays, you have to think about your stories. So how did you go about the process and what were the things that worked for you?
You shared a very thorough questionnaire and that helped me introspect a lot of the past achievements and failures. Going through that questionnaire was important in figuring out the strengths and weaknesses and how to weave a coherent story for the application, because there are questions regarding your strengths and weaknesses, there are questions regarding your achievements and failures, and how your strengths have helped your achievements, how your weaknesses have led to your failures. So I think the questionnaire that you shared helped me write a very good application story for that, from my strengths and weaknesses, achievements and failures, and also my motivation to do an MBA application. Like, it was a very thorough, tedious process. If you're willing to put in the effort, and you'll come out with flying colors. It gave me a lot of confidence in myself, and it really vindicated my thought process to apply for such a top program.
What was the interview experience like, and what were the important parts of the interview prep?
The most important part of interview prep is sticking to your story. You shouldn't deviate from it in any way. It wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, but then you gave me a lot of good guidance on how to get over the anxiety, how to get a good story in place to convince the AdCom team. Sticking to your story and being sure of what you want after your MBA, having done your research regarding what companies come for placements and what roles they offer and how an MBA will help you achieve those jobs, I think is the most important part of the interview process. Be confident and consider the interview as an experience and not as a grilling session. It's more of a conversation. The interviewers are just want to know if the person on the application, the words are coming from you, like if the achievements and the failures on the page is coming from you basically, and you deserve a seat at the top. I would say just being honest, being true, and being confident is the most important part of the interview process.
Now that you have been, through the whole process, the ISB application, the ISB interview, so are there any particular myths that have been broken?
Yeah, I would say one of the most important one is obviously the interview process. They just grill on your view on your story on your application. But what I found from my interview process is it's a conversation. They just want to know you better. They just want to know that you deserve the seat, and basically you are the person who has written the application and essays, and that's really you. Like, the duration of the interview has nothing to do with the outcome. I've talked to some people, and some of them got done within 15 minutes. Some of them got done within 50 minutes. My interview lasted for 45 to 50 minutes. So, and at the end, I had a positive result. I got what I wanted. So I think the duration of the interview doesn't have anything to do with your results. It's just the interviewers are trying to know you better. Those are the two myths that I was able to.
What would be your tips for the applicants who are eyeing an ISB PGP admit in the next cycle?
Have a good story. Have a coherent story. Stick to it, don't deviate from it. Be sure of your goals. Like, even if you don't know what industry you want to go after an MBA, keep an open mind about it. Have a good understanding of the industry, placement reports of the program. Most importantly is, be sure that an MBA will help you achieve what you want. People apply to MBAs because they're stuck in their career and they're sure of your goal and we know where you want to go. And keeping an open mind, basically, it's the most important thing in applying for the program. I remember our first conversation, which was way back when I had actually started my GMAT preparation. This was in June or July, I think, of last year. And during that time, I talked to other consultants as well. When I shared my CV with you and the work that I had done, you did a thorough breakdown of everything. And, your confidence in my application basically gave me confidence in myself to consult you once I got in the score that I wanted to go ahead with you. Because the other consultants, they just did a very surface level review of everything. You had done a very thorough this thing. You had given me feedback on my profile, which gave me confidence in myself to appear for the GMAT and actually apply to the top schools. So I think that was a very major reason in me selecting. Also, the steps that you had later on, once we started the process, the questionnaires that you sent me, the discussions we had, and you were at quickly approachable. Like even if I called you or messaged you on a Sunday, you would be there to reply. You would give me feedback on that. Also, I had some problem regarding the finances for my side venture and the profiles. So you helped me out with that. Like you gave me clarity on that. So that was I think a very important factor for me going ahead. And also the mock interview experiences were really great. With your guidance and you showing me the way and telling me to keep a coherent story and helping me write that story and helping me believe in myself to get through the application and the interview process. And you gave me a lot of tips. You gave me confidence to be confident in myself, to have a coherent story to tell the interviewers and be sure of my end goals and not be confused what I wanted after MBA. So those tips, those tricks, they help me have confidence in myself to get along with it. And when we had the final mock interview just before the actual interview, you told me I was like almost there. I was 80% of the way there, and that gave me a lot of confidence. And doing the entire application process and the entire mock interview process with you, it made the actual interview a lot less nerve-wracking, and it made me look at it as an experience, rather than something which was a task for me to get done. Because like having had those conversations with you, I thought like I was already had that, have had that conversation with you, and I'm just doing the same with the interviewers. Getting that mindset from the mock interviews for the actual interview was very helpful, and it was really, really important for me to get that confidence in myself.